Hey, the opening finally isn't tragic! So, I decided to start back up on the title screen here because this really is something of a new beginning for the story. I know that when this game first came out on PSP, it was released as 2 discs. Now, I'm actually not sure where the disc transition happened, but I feel like now would be a perfect time. It's not halfway through the game, it's more like 2/3 of the way through. But not all disc shifts in multi-disc RPGs are halfway, so I don't know. If anyone knows exactly where the PSP version switched discs, please tell me, but I like to think that it did here. And so with that, let's continue with Joshua having returned. That's probably my favourite chapter intro so far. But, meanwhile, we've got other matters to attend to. Yeah, quite a lot going on right now. Ouroboros is moving into the supposedly final stage of its plan, Meanwhile, Joshua's recounting everything that he's learned in his time with them. Yeah, Louvet kind of hinted at that in FC. Yeah, the war going on any longer would definitely have resulted in things going even worse. It was a difficult decision. And what Josh was saying is true. And we can bring the truth to light ourselves. She's been keeping quiet about it these past 10 years. It must be a relief. And they do mean well, actually, except Kevin. He's not here. Oh, okay, I guess this means the love triangle can start up again, and also, you know, Josette is involved. Joshua does kind of have a bit of a harem, even though he's really only interested in Estelle. Granted, I mean, it's not like Sharon needs much of a push to drive herself to drink. Yeah, speaking of which, where is Kevin? There he is! I knew we were missing someone. And, speaking of love triangles, I guess, it's sometimes kinda hard to tell whether Kevin really has feelings for Estelle or if he was just trolling all of those times. I wonder if Joshua knew more about him, though, during his time as the Black Fang. And there is one person who's definitely overdue for a reunion here. Someone should be really keeping account of those. That was actually something Joshua learned with the Capuas. He just kind of saw them as a means to an end, but then they came back and saved him when they were being chased by the Ouroboros ships. Also, this speech sounds extremely Persona-ish. And I'm actually tearing up here. This always gets to me. It's not often that happens. However, we're about to be rudely interrupted. By the final dungeon theme from FC. Phase 3 has officially begun. If the dragon incident was any indication, we are now essentially at war with Ouroboros. Please tell me it isn't that something horrible's happened to all of the ground-based scouts. Yep, of course! Of course! Yeah, you know what that means. It is time that we finally get to strike back against the Enforcers. There's a few conflicting views on this chapter in the fanbase. I'll get to why once we see what the chapter actually entails. This chapter's always been one of my favorite moments in the whole game. Because this is where things get really, really serious, and we're actually starting to directly go up against the Enforcers themselves. I'm pretty sure everyone's gonna come here. And true, you and Luciola are overdue for a match. Not to mention Xin. Yep, it's those bonds that were mentioned before. And, well, there's someone who hasn't quite got in on this just yet. Four towers, 4 enforcers, 4 phenomena to halt. That is our mission. Chloe will have her answer soon. Until then, though, she's going to be with us as well. And she's brought the prized airship with us, or Wings of Hope, as Queen Alicia calls it. Thing is, though, we're not actually going to have Julia as a party member because she's busy helming the ship. And no Cassius or Morgan directly fighting with us, obviously. They have bureaucracy to deal with. And so, we abruptly get our payment for the previous chapter, and 281 is how much BP we should have at this point. That gets us the Gladiator Belt. Perfect timing, too. I'm pretty sure you'll only get that now if you've done a perfect run. However, there is one very, very, very sad thing about this chapter. Unfortunately, Olivier is going to be leaving us for a little while. And that's actually part of the reason why I used him in Chapter 6, because that's your last chance to use Olivier for a little bit. But as you can probably see, we do have Kevin, so that goes a little bit of the way to replacing him from a gameplay standpoint. Kevin fulfills a pretty similar role. Oh, great. That's back. Well, let's hope Joshua never gets involved in the sequel to that play. Of course, I knew you'd do that. I knew you'd do that. Yeah, as you can tell by the Joshua interlude in Chapter 4, Joshua has pretty much figured out what Olivier's deal is by now, but we're not quite ready to learn that just yet. Once again, Estelle has a very big stick. Part of me was actually hoping that Mueller would suddenly appear and drag him away. Well, at least we've got his moral support. I like how everyone's actually kind of just seeing him off on pretty good terms. Despite everything. It's just kind of interesting. It really does show that they've actually grown to be genuine companions. And we also have one more member of our entourage. Professor Russell's going to be joining us too. He's going to perform a particular role on this ship. Oh yeah, she's been helping subdue rampaging dragons, so of course, you're the one who's the expert in orbital technology and the like, and the one who's been studying the Gospels. We'll need you to figure out what's going on here. Like the quartz, not really. Yep, that is gonna be our first port of call. All those riddles, we are finally gonna get payback. And yeah, Blue Blunt doesn't even seem like much of a fighter. either, and he was still strong enough to defeat an entire group. But yeah, remember that shadow pinning technique that he was using? Well, we've already gone up against a lot of his riddles in the past. First destination, Esmella's Tower and the Phantom Thief. And I guess it's only fitting that we liberate the Roland region first. And hey there, Olivier. It's still really sad that you have to go. Oh, of course, these two just missed the flight. Yeah, I'm sure they'd be jumping at the chance to get pictures of this whole thing. He said a shot, Dorothy. Not the entire film. I'm glad Tita finally gets to be on board this thing. Main screen turn on, as they say. Yeah, that's kind of, let's just say that isn't normal. No, probably not, especially since we've heard reports of other airships crashing when they approach that thing. Yeah, remember when I pointed that out last time we were on this ship? I did that for a reason. And so we do get to switch up our party a little bit. And even though you get the party formation screen now, you can talk to other people on board the ship to swap things around. So, as you can see, Joshua is going to be forced for this entire... Joshua is forced now, and he's going to be forced for the entire chapter. Not that anyone's complaining, because Joshua is not only an incredibly good party member, he's also way ahead of us in terms of levels. So he's going to be jagging us for most of this chapter. And since we've only kind of semi-recently got Kevin back as a full party member, I'm going to use Kevin for this one. And since we'll be going up against Blue Blanc, I'm also going to be bringing Chloe. Sadly, Olivier cannot have a showdown with his rival here. This is our party for now, but Russell's going to tell us something. Yeah, he'll be our Orbital Shop for this entire chapter. He can make new quartz and tune up our orbments. And it's highly recommended that you buy the best quartz and upgrade your orbments as much as possible. It's also kind of funny that Professor Russell should mention POMs. It just so happens that Esmeralda's Tower does have potential shining POM encounters, and if you find one of those early, probably a good idea to take it out. Because Joshua is about the level you're expected to fight the Enforcers at, and everyone else is pretty significantly behind. So the tour that I gave of the Astray the last time we were here actually had a purpose. Knowing your way around is going to be pretty useful, because right now, it's going to be our base of operations. So if you talk to other party members here, you can switch up the party, but if you talk to Shero, you get a little bit of interesting dialogue. Yeah, we found the wedding ring, we saved Luke and Pat. And Chloe didn't actually know about this. Wow, it almost feels like Joshua's kind of inherited Estelle's what face. Yeah, Cassius Bright, always jumping in and hogging all the glory. But yeah, now it's these two's turn. It's really their time to shine. So down these stairs and through here, we have access to the mess hall, and here we can actually buy ingredients. And there's quite a lot of stuff that we can get here. Unfortunately, this is not Orvid's shop, so we don't have access to the more exotic ingredients for purchase, but we can still buy most common ingredients, so if you want to cook a lot, this is pretty much your one-stop shop for it. You can also buy Liberl News Issue 9, which is highly recommended right now, Terrell Balms, and still regular reviving balms, but they do sell EP Charge too, which is pretty nice. I may as well get a few of those. And in here, this is where we get to tune up our orbments. Oh wow, they even brought Antoine the cat along, which is pretty nice. Actually forgot he was here. And yet more mysterious pieces of technology that he's making that we're not going to learn about just yet. Well, I mean, you know, if he mentions it, obviously something is going to come from it. Okay, so we actually need to speak to you to get the augment upgrade area. Joshua thankfully already has a fully upgraded augment. And Chloe, may as well fully upgrade Chloe's slots. And we also found a whole lot of quartz in chests, and still only going up to cast 2. But we can get extra action 4s, which is not bad. Let's grab one of those. I can get another EP4 too, which is always great to have. Kevin has taken up residence in this room. You mean being the one healed or the one doing the healing? Yeah, I feel like that kind of thing's pretty useful when you're in the field. Oh boy, yeah, there are definitely some dangers in there.
No problem.
But right now, I'm doing this so I can swap Kevin back into the party. Okay, so I made a lot of preparations. I'm going to go over everything in my equipment and inventory and augments in the next part. So I'll end this part by talking about Joshua, although, you know, how Joshua works should be kind of obvious now, but I guess I'll just say, Joshua is very similar to how he was in the first game. He's a speedy glass cannon. He can't take hits very well, but he's good at both physical attacking and at arts, and his augment is also pretty highly specialized towards time quartz, which is great because, as I keep saying, time has the best quartz in the game. His crafts are pretty much the same as they were in the first game. He has a lot of attacks that inflict delay. Flicker also ignores defense to an extent, which is pretty useful. They all have pretty good secondary effects on them, and as I've mentioned before, he starts out with Chain 3, which is actually pretty useful since most characters don't learn that until the mid-70s to mid-80s. He also has access to True Sever, but right now Black Fang hasn't been upgraded yet. I'm going to keep his S-Craft on True Sever for now. Maybe a formation like that might work. So, next time, we will be heading out into the Esmelis Tower, and getting ready to go up against the Phantom Thief himself. See you all then. Actually, before we go, let's read Liberl News Issue 9. Special, the Royal Army Reborn. Reformation and Change. The Royal Army, the same organisation that in the past refused any cooperation with the Bracer Guild, is now engaging in joint tasks such as the recent Dragon operation. It's clear from these recent efforts that fundamental change is happening, and Cassius Bright is serving as the central role and driving force behind this change. Starting point for organisational reform. In reforming the army, it's said that General Cassius has had one ideal in mind from the start. That ideal is the independent, mobile force he commanded during the 100 Days War. As indicated by the emphasis on probably independence, this unit was small in scale, yet organised in a way that it could execute operations entirely on its own. Using the newly developed airships, these kinds of units were able to drive chaos into the Imperial lines by swinging behind them and dividing their troops. This maneuver is credited with turning around the war, and it was made possible by the small-scale units and rigid cooperation between all branches of Liberl's forces. It's not hard to imagine that in General Cassius's thoughts, these lessons weigh heavily. Permeating doctrine. The General's ideals are permeating through all branches of the Royal Army. The Dragon operation serves as a good example. The Border Patrol, the Air Force, regardless of each unit having their own chains of command, they were able to adapt to changes in the situation. On top of that, even after the operation failed, it's important to note that the commander present was able to request cooperation from the Bracers, a move previously unheard of. Breaking news, Crimson soldiers reported. From all across Liberl, eyewitness reports of unknown soldiers wearing bright red armour are pouring in. Witnesses have taken to calling them Crimson Soldiers. Some unconfirmed reports suggest they are using airships as well. The Royal Army is upping security, but recommends not to be distracted by rumours. Breaking news, Royal Army raises alert status. In response to reports of unidentified armed groups, Army headquarters has decided to raise the alert status. Distant military posts are reported to be shutting down passage on the roads in preparation for combat. Army HQ is observing the situation carefully, but also deploying troops from Leyston Fortress to all major cities. Information is difficult to confirm at this stage, but we urge our readers to remain calm and act responsibly.